that's me, you're probably wondering how I ended up dancing in a K-pop bar in a country that's technically still at war. Short answer, Soju. Long answer, let's rewind. After my adventure in Japan, which you should definitely watch, or else, I was ready for a warmer climate. After all, when people think Asia, they imagine palm trees, street food, warm nights, but then I landed in Seoul. Alright, made it to the Republic of South Korea. As you can tell, it is freezing beyond belief. And I'm gonna board the bus. It costs 17,000, which is about $13. It's like an hour away from the city. And that's my bus, 6011. And this is how my rules of travel were born. Rule number 1, always check the weather. It took about an hour to get to my destination. I must say, for the short 70 years that South Korea gained independence, I'm impressed for the development that they did. When you visit South Korea, there is one place that instantly reminds you that history is still alive. The demilitarized zone is the border between North and South Korea, a place where silence feels loud, and every viewpoint comes with a story that shaped millions of lives. Hidden deep inside the DMZ lies one of the most haunting places in Korea, the Bridge of No Return. It was named that because once someone crossed it, they were never allowed to return. Not soldiers, not prisoners, not civilians. Not even for a funeral. Not for family, not for anything. It wasn't just a bridge, it was the final decision of identity. Once you choose, that was it. The bridge now has a concrete wall, so North Koreans who want to defect could not easily pass it. So the Bridge of No Return still stands, not in use, not forgotten, but frozen in time. Because to understand why the two Koreas stand the way they do today, you need to go back to 1950s, when the Korean War broke out, pulling the entire peninsula into a conflict that technically never ended. Standing there at the DMZ, you feel the tension before anyone explains it. The fences, the soldiers, the boundaries painted on the ground, everything is calm, but it's calm built on rules, agreements, and decades of watching each other closely. Speaking of watching each other closely, here's a fun fact. As I said, the countries are technically still at war, so here's the flagpole war. It started when South Korea built a 30-meter flagpole in Daesong-dong village. Therefore, North Korea responded with a 60-meter flagpole. Therefore, South Korea said, okay, bet, and built a 100-meter flagpole. But North Korea isn't the type to lose, as you might imagine. So they built a 160-meter monster, one of the tallest flagpoles on the planet. And this became known as the Flagpole War, or as I like to call it, the international contest of who has the bigger patriotism. And then there were the Speakers' War.
South Korea has begun dismantling oversized loudspeakers along its border that were formerly used to broadcast anti-North Korea messages.
South Korea installed massive loudspeakers along the border, therefore blasting K-pop music, weather reports and news into North Korea. But North Korea didn't love being woken up at 6 a.m. by BTS. Therefore, they blasted propaganda speeches back to South Korea. At one point, the two countries literally had a who can yell louder across the border competition, just like a couple in divorce court. And if flagpole war and loudspeaker war weren't enough, there's also the balloon war. Yeah, balloons. The same thing used for children's birthdays. And also
psychological warfare.
In what now appears to be an ongoing operation, North Korea has sent more of its trash-carrying balloons across the border to South Korea.
Park sends 12-metre-high balloons twice a month over the border to North Korea. Each balloon carries 8 kilograms of anti-Pyongyang leaflets, US dollar bills, and USB sticks loaded with K-pop and South Korean TV dramas.
Oh man, I wish I was joking. Back to the DMZ. At the time of my visit, the observation deck was actually open, and I've learned that it's not open anymore to the public. But while we were there, I actually got a glimpse of North Koreans. Fake villages, or propaganda village. This is the village that were looking at now. Although it started with South Korea building the Freedom Village, where real people, real farming, and real life takes place. Therefore, North Korea built Peace Village, which we call Propaganda Village, which would be peaceful if anyone actually lived there. But it's basically a fake village that looks real from afar, but is mostly empty buildings with lights on timers. Well, it's not as easy as it looks. So visiting the DMZ isn't just tourism. It's stepping into a moment that never fully ended. After seeing Korea divided, I wanted to see Korea united, the old Korea. So I went back to Seoul to see the palaces. Gyeongbokgung, and I hope I say that right, was built in 1395, and it was the home of Joseon dynasty, who ruled for over 500 years. The longest running Confucian dynasty in history, not Confucian, Confucian. Why does this matter? Well, because this is where the Korean culture was shaped. Respect, discipline, balance, and harmony. And maybe the Squid Games, I don't know. Even the gates had social hierarchy. One gate was for the kings, another for the scholars, and one for the commoners. Basically, the first VIP entrance. After all those history lessons, it was time for me to taste history. And I did what I do in every country I visit. I went to a cooking class. We started at the market where we bought fresh ingredients, and the market looks exactly how you think a Korean market would look like. Alright, let's see. It's a silkworm. Oh, no! Fuck.
Don't worry, there's more.
The grasshoppers were better. Mushy, earthy. I'm not gonna mention all the things we cooked because there were a few, but the two that I liked the most were japchae and Korean pancake. Oh my god, I'm watching the video about Korean pancake. It was so good. So if you have a Korean restaurant close by, I highly recommend you try both. And I don't know which one was better.
Very chewy.
You eat all of it?
Yeah. I know.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Better than expected, but
Well, look at that face. Does it say better than expected? I think not. After the food, it was time for me to learn how Koreans drink and why it matters. If you've seen those green bottles somewhere on Squid Games maybe, you know that soju isn't just an alcohol here. It's a national bonding tool, emotionally and chemically. Soju is the most sold spirit in the world by volume, beating whiskey, vodka, tequila, all of them. Some drinking rules in Korea. You never pour your own drink, just like in Japan. Someone else does it for you. You turn your face away when drinking in front of elders, as a sign of respect. You never refuse a toast. You can always politely delay it though. I went to Story of Three Pigs distillery, and for the life of me I cannot find the footage. But we drank. Also we tried flavored soju, which was pretty interesting. But one question remained. What the hell is apata-pata? Well, it's a drinking game, played exactly like this. One more mystery solved. You're welcome. After the soju class, I took an evening or afternoon tour around Seoul with a local guide and learned a lot of things, some of which were a bit shocking to me. If you think plastic surgery is big in South Korea, you're wrong. It's massive.
One of the fastest growing sectors in the travel industry, medical tourism.
They do cosmetic surgery like Starbucks does coffee, efficiently, everywhere, and pretty much with loyalty points. And yes, it's totally normal for men to wear makeup. Some of their skin routines are better than YouTube tutorials. We were told that some parents even make a gift for their son or daughter's 18th birthday for nose and eyelids. Apparently that's a big thing there. And it's no secret that Korean cosmetics is one of the best in the world. So after learning some of the history of Korea, and then tasting the amazing Korean cuisine, and learning how authentic soju tastes like, there's only one thing for me left to do. Go bar hopping. As every self-respecting tourist, I booked a group activity for bar hopping, where we went to a few bars, and I gotta tell you guys, I think Korea doesn't get enough foreigners because I was stared at like I was a hot woman in every bar I went. It felt amazing, I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunately, most people don't know English, so the women were just staring but not saying much. Or maybe they were, I don't know. My Korean goes as far as what I've learned from Squid Games. 감사합니다 and 안녕하세요. So last night, I went up to 2 o'clock at the bars. Not my scene. And I'm right across like the palace, I think. It is freezing. And just like that, it's time to trade snow for sand, soju for coconut water, and K-pop beats for island vibes. Because we're heading next to the Philippines. 3 months, 7,641 islands, which I count myself, definitely didn't use Google, unlimited chaos potential, starting the new year in Manila. Don't forget to pack light, book that flight, and never forget to check the weather. Thank you all for the support, I'll see you in the next one.